All right, well, we're here at MDI High School. Chris Popper joined by Principal Matt Haney. It's been a long time since I've been in the principal's office, and I'll tell you, I don't think mine in Bermuda at the high school ever looked like this. And so we're doing the last full week of school for the seniors. The senior prank was epic. It was, you had Post-it notes completely all over your office. As a matter of fact, you've got a trash can full of Post-it notes. That must have been quite the little surprise coming in on Monday to see a year's worth of Post-it notes all over the walls.
It was pretty impressive. I pulled in my truck, and I parked just out there, and I could see. I thought the sun was hitting my windows funny because it looked like almost like a rainbow.
Yellow or,
yeah. I said, what's happening there? Why is that reflecting like that? And then I came and opened the door. I said, oh my gosh, like this whole, it was all wallpapered. They had a nice pattern. They had wished me a happy birthday. They had been thoughtful. The whiteboard was covered with white stickies. It left me notes. It was interesting.
It was a great prank.
It was hilarious. Interestingly, that day we were being visited by the DOE.
Right, the Department of Education was coming, but you knew that.
I did.
But they didn't know that they were coming.
The students didn't know. No. So I was meeting with them first over in the superintendent's office, and I was good-natured. I really appreciated the prank that the students did, but I said, whoever did this, it would be great if when I came back it was picked up. So I'm walking around in the hall, and my feet have sticky notes stuck to them. I'm kicking my foot to try to get them off my shoes. It was pretty good.
So it was just a normal visit by the Department of Education?
They're visiting all the schools based on the proficiency-based diplomas.
Okay.
They are giving different schools are applying for different timelines.
Right.
And for the timeline that we asked for, they are visiting all the schools that did that. I think they're visiting 60 or something high school. Actually, It's not high schools, it's districts. But the high school bears the brunt of the proficiency-based diploma.
So tell us, how's the year gone? I mean, 2 years, they've probably flown by, and also probably been the longest 2 years of your life both at the same time.
That's exactly right. They have the time has flown by. I can't believe now, not only 2 years as the principal, but I've been at this school for 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. That's the bigger thing to me. To me, the different roles that I've had have kind of blended in together over time. So it really feels more like 10 than 2. But I can't believe it's been 10 years that I've been here, and I've kind of grown into this school as part of my home. Right.
You came from where?
I worked at Sumner High School.
Okay.
Actually, that was the athletic
There's
director.
actually a lot. I mean, there's a great Sumner MDI little transition here.
Yes, Matt Humphrey and I came here in the same year, and we have the same sort of build and the same sort of haircut,
right.
And people still get us confused, even though he wears wind pants every day.
He swishes when he walks, right?
Yes, but they still. I answer to Mr. Humphrey.
Right. He answers to Mr. Haney, too.
He answers questions about when students have to turn in their this and that for graduation. He just answers them.
Well, it's good to have like a twin that you can rely on, a clone.
Yes.
So, what's been the highlight of the year? I mean, there's been so many things to choose from, and that may be a hard thing to do.
I'm just going to think about recency.
Yeah.
Friday night, the concert, the spring concert, was just so amazing. So it was obviously the music was great, but it was such a display of emotion, and watching students care so much about one particular thing and working so hard together and putting such a piece together and working both the vocalist and the instrumentalist, not only for themselves but for each other and for their directors. It was a very moving night.
Yeah. You're lucky. I mean, you've got great staff here.
The best.
Yeah.
And I try as often as I can to try and express that. I don't do a great job of expressing my appreciation for how great they are. And each week I've been watching. I watched every single one of these videos. And sometimes I will turn the audio on while I'm doing whatever it is I'm doing at the end of the day. But
getting ready to sleep, and we put you to sleep or something like that. But
I try not to sleep. But the things I've learned, I've gained a lot of understanding and knowledge, and it's actually great to have the background of where people are coming from to understand. And so it's such a multi-talented faculty that there's not anybody that just, well, gee, I'm good at math. They all have
these hidden secret talents, and the neat thing is that universally, I think this is with you. I think this is maybe the 24th video that we've done. Everyone has been talked about how supportive the administration has been, and
they have to say that.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was a check mark that we do. But I mean, it was all unprompted, and everybody really talked about how supportive the administration was, and let them do kind of what they wanted to do within the overall guidelines.
Yeah, I think we come to some general agreements about base things that we're going to do, and we work together, and sometimes they have to be a little bit tighter in line with each other, but teaching is both an art and a science. The science part is, yes, there are certain pedagogy, there are certain things that we ask you to do, there are certain timelines, there are certain agreements, those types of things, but then you have to be yourself. You can't be a robot as a teacher. You have to have your own passions, your own interests, your own focus. And so that's where that all comes together, and as you've seen, we have such a diverse set of those special talents.
Well, and I think the neat thing too is that the faculty is really a blend of older, experienced teachers and younger teachers that bring an incredible amount of passion to the school.
Exactly, and I would actually say that I don't know that the amount of experience really is a function of the passion, because I think some of the more experienced teachers are even the more passionate. They haven't lost that. I think just the opposite, it increases as time goes on. But that doesn't mean that the new staff is not excited and passionate about what they're doing. It's a different way, and it's a different experience, and I think it's a really good blend, as you say, that we have here of people with valuable years of experience beyond mine, in many ways, and I think that we all recognize that we can learn from each other, and we can also learn from the new teachers.
Right.
We can learn from they are able to look at things just as they are without any preconceived ideas of what may actually be happening. I think that's a great strength, and I think we can pull from both sides, and we can each learn from each other that way.
I asked you just prior to us beginning taping, you're not going to lose any teachers this year.
No, we have no faculty leaving this year,
which is pretty amazing. I mean, in the normal, I guess, transition of a school, there's normally like one or two teachers that cycle out every year, but that's pretty amazing not to have any kind of teacher turnover.
It is, and I'm really happy about that. I mean, we have such a good crew here, and to be able to continue forward and keep that continuity is great. I mean, it's nice when you have new people come on board,
yeah,
but not at the expense of losing somebody else. And so actually, we're lucky this year. We do have a new teacher joining us. We added a position in special education.
Okay.
So we have a new teacher coming back to join us, and actually, it's a graduate of the school.
Well, and that's so neat too, because there are, I think, 4 to 5 maybe former students that are teachers, maybe even higher.
Oh no, it's much more than that.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. The newest one, his name is Devin Young.
Okay.
He graduated from here 5 years ago. He actually played baseball for me when I
remember.
coached the team.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So Devin's coming back to teach special ed.
And but that's so neat to be able to have those former students come back and take on the role as teachers. I think it says a lot about the school that they're comfortable doing that and want to make this their home.
Absolutely. I mean, this has been their home, and people want to go back. I mean, there's always a draw. Well, I don't know about always. I think it depends on your experience. I had a wonderful experience in high school, and I went to George Stevens Academy, and I just always keep in touch. I keep in touch with primarily my phys ed teacher and baseball and soccer coach. I still am very close with him, and there's always a big draw to know what's happening back there at GSA, and I think you can feel that here. And now I've been at MDI for 2.5 times as long as I was in high
Right.
school myself. So I have that same, sense of this is my home.
Yeah, yeah. Whitey's leaving, who's the food services director. That'll be a big loss for this school.
It'll be a big loss. He's been here for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, he feeds everybody, but really it's more his presence, his silly, dumb jokes, and it's just his smile and his energy that he brings.
Right. What's the one thing that I guess if you could do over that you do over this year? Is there anything that comes to mind, and that's a hard question, I know.
Well, there are a million little things.
Okay. Well.
But I don't really like to do that because I can't.
Okay. It's learn and move forward.
Right. I mean, you think and reflect and say, well, gee, the next time this situation comes up, then I might do it differently. But there's no point wishing that I had because that's not going to get you anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, this has been a different year than my first year, in the sense of just we're further into the proficiency-based diploma. Last year it was more a planning and concept. Now this year it's partly, become reality, and
So
with that,
that's for the freshmen who have come in as ninth grade. They're in the process now of going to that proficiency-based diploma.
yes. And so there's a relatively insulated, very well supported group of teachers who are working with those freshmen and helping them advance. Next year it gets much broader because those students obviously become sophomores, and we can't keep the net narrow. It's
Right.
really gotten to the point where every teacher is going to be experiencing this change, and it's a change everybody is on board with, and yet until you actually do it, it can be intimidating.
Well, I think it's a lot more work for the teachers.
Teachers have always worked extremely hard.
Yeah. I'm married to a teacher,
yes.
so I completely understand that.
That being said, I think it is much more clear what needs to be done. And so once that's become so clear what needs to be done for a student to get what they need to get, it just has to happen.
Right.
And so it is happening. You're seeing the teachers here working with students quite a while after school, and they meet with them before school, and because students now can't just put in their time.
There's no skating by.
No, there's no skating by at all, and so they're going to get it. There's no more, well, I don't understand this whole section on the French Revolution, but I'll take a D on that test or an F on that test. It'll average out, and I'll be fine at the end. It's not that. It's you have to get it before
Right.
you move on.
But as a teacher, I mean, and my wife's a special ed teacher, and I mean the hours that she works and is there on the weekends to try and even stay somewhat caught up with all the paperwork. But with this proficiency-based diploma, I mean, teachers are basically, they have the potential of touching everything more than once, which just, I mean, there's just a fine line of how much you can do in a certain amount of time.
Well, that's
It's
right.
tough. I mean, it's great for the student, but it's tough for the teacher.
It is, and I think teachers are people that really want to do everything that they can.
Right.
And one of the messages I have to try to get out there is that no matter what, there has to be an end. And we can't work ourselves so far into the ground that, because the students need us at our best, and if we drive ourselves into the ground, then they don't get that. I mean, I think that's a lesson for teachers, it's a lesson for me, it's a lesson for lots of people. We have to be at our best, and at some point, I mean, there's always going to be more to do.
Right.
At some point, you just have to stop.
Yeah, I mean, but it's tough because you've got paperwork that needs to be done, grades that need to be done. I mean, everything that needs to be done, and there's 24 hours in a day.
Right, and so to me, the things you let go are the paperwork or even the grading when faced with a student that's in front of you.
Right.
Like, that's the priority. The other stuff, it'll get done. And there are certain things that have to be done in a certain time, but the other things, it's still going to be there when you come back the next day.
What's the best thing about working here?
Well, the people, without a question. And that is starting with the students. And I mean, the students come to us with high expectations of us and of themselves, and they hold us to that. And they bring the amazing array of talent that I was talking about with the teachers too. Every student that's here has a very special ability. Some are in one area. I mean, and what our job is to find out what that is and to bring that out. Yeah. So the students, the teachers, and the rest of the staff, they come to work enthused, and they keep students in the center of what they're doing. And we have lots of exterior support. It's a great community that, again, has high expectations of us and will support us to meet those. Yeah. They're not unreasonable. It's take our kids, even if they aren't their own parents. Like there's a feeling of this island that
it's a
this
community.
Is our yeah. Even if you're not technically related, it's there. It is a family, and I trust you that you know what you're doing. You're going to take care of this family, and what do you need to make it happen?
Right. Your office is kind of in the midst of the hall in the first floor, but I mean, it's amazing because every time I walk by, your door is always open.
Yes, as an aside, I don't remember who it was. Somebody was in here the other day. He said, "This office looks like a man cave." I got a picture of Jackie Robinson, some race medals over there.
You've hid the refrigerator, so we're all right.
Right. But yeah, that's why when I took over in this position as principal, the principal's office. This was not the principal's office.
No, the principal's office was in the main office.
Yeah, it was down there, kind of next to the nurse's office, and you had to intentionally
because you needed the
there.
nurse back then. I mean, right as the principal.
But the only way to go by there was if you were intentionally going by there.
Right.
Where here, I wanted to be over here so people would just pop in, and I intentionally put my desk in view so people can tell if I'm here. And I close the door if I have something I need to do.
But privacy or stuff like that. Issues.
But I honestly mean it. If I'm sitting there, my door's open, people should come in. I want people in here. The more people in here, the better, because, well, I don't want to be lonely. It can be a lonely job sometimes. But
well, Mary outside keeps you
yes.
under control.
Yes, that's right. But also, there are always questions that people have, and the answers that they have in their head are almost always the worst case scenario. And so I want them to come
coming to ask the principal. I mean,
I try not to project that, but I think it just comes with the name.
Yeah. I mean, even though it's PAL and it's supposed to be your pal.
I haven't pulled that one.
Yeah. It's just, go see Mr. Haney, and it's like, oh, Lord. I mean, people just, I guess it's that whole, the nightmare of going to see the principal, whereas it shouldn't be.
I hope not. And I have plenty of people in here, but I think I have noticed a change over time, increasingly as I get away from my old roles, the assistant principal.
Yeah, if you go see Ian Braun, then you have something to worry about.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
No, I'm teasing.
But I don't get as many people dropping in just to talk anymore.
Right.
And I don't know what that's about. I don't know if people assume I'm too busy or if I've become a they or what it is.
Maybe you've got to hold an advisory or something.
Yeah. But there is an advisor group that meets in here.
Okay.
Actually, they're graduating, so it's been lonely this week. So I don't know what we'll do. That teacher, Kathy Kazarin, one of the special ed teachers, she has a group of seniors who are leaving, and then she'll have freshmen next year. So hopefully they'll come in. That'll be a little different. I like having seniors around. Freshmen sometimes, or I might be more worried about my things being in the wrong place. Not disappearing. I'm not worried about that. But
well, and that's an interesting thing, because I mean, as the principal, you really see kids mature over the 4 years. I mean, when they come in here, they're what, 14, 15 years old?
14 for the most part.
And I mean, they're just teenagers. I mean, really. And when they leave, they're adults.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is always where I've been practicing, working with the seniors, practicing marching today and getting ready for graduation, and it's always such a change when they have stopped taking classes. Yeah. Like it's just so they're so relaxed and so grown up, and yet they still like to play. which is good because so do I, and I graduated
Right.
a while ago. It's just a nice change to watch happen. I love freshmen. I love seeing them come in with the enthusiasm and the wide eyes and the needing help figuring out where to go. And I like that too. The first day of school is just as exciting to me as graduation day, just for that same, not the same reason, but it's just the excitement into doing something new.
Right.
Versus the celebration of
Completion. And moving on in your life.
Yeah.
So have you prepared your speech for Sunday?
Not
Working
yet.
on it?
My speech is the least important one. People are not there to listen to me. They're really there to. It's not in any way, shape, or form about me. I mean, I still have some things I want to say, some people I'd like to recognize, but really, it's about our guest speaker, who's Darren Collins, the president at COA.
Yeah.
And then our two student speakers, Elena Munson and Will Green. They're chosen by the people who matter most. The people who populate this building, and they really want to hear what they have to say, and I'm really looking forward to that. And then, of course, the awarding of the diplomas is why everybody's there.
Will Green going to Middlebury, where I went, and that's kind of neat. Talk a little bit about the change in terms of you don't have a salutatorian, you don't have a valedictorian, and that's new this year.
Yes, it's new this year. It's not new this year about the speaking parts.
Right.
That was a decision that came about several years ago, before I was the principal, about the idea that academics are not supposed to be a cutthroat competition. And so we have a whole bunch of students who achieve academically at an extremely high level, Helena and Will among those two. And so recognizing just two of them doesn't seem to make sense when the difference is minuscule as far as their academic performance. People distinguish themselves in different ways, and we have a great number of students in this particular class who have really made themselves and their family and their school proud.
Yeah. And I think probably with the move towards proficiency diplomas, that whole grading so much isn't as important as it is the understanding of the concept.
Right. I mean, there still will be a differentiation. The true excellent students and highest achievers, you'll still be able to tell.
Right.
But yes, it's not more about putting in your time and making sure you just turn in all your homework, and it really is about, are you prepared for whatever's next?
Yeah. What's the one thing? I mean, I'm amazed. Looking at your Facebook, you're a runner. You're a marathoner.
Well, I did it once anyway.
Okay. What's the one thing that nobody knows about you? I mean, you've seen that question.
Yes. Well, that would be one. Is that I did a full marathon in May.
Which was where in?
It was in southern Maine. It was called the Maine Coast Marathon. Okay. It started at Kennebunk High School and finished up at the University of New England. It was a beautiful course. Goes by 4 or 5 different sections of just unbelievable beachfront, right past the Walker Point, the Bush compound. I mean, we're from here to that building right there, away from that. I didn't have as much time to just enjoy the scenery.
No, I would imagine not. Going 26 miles, I think that you just put one foot in front of the other.
I trained for this marathon mostly at 5 o'clock in the morning, and you remember the winter.
Oh, yeah.
It was very cold.
I do remember the winter.
And even as we got into the spring, it was pretty cold. Well, all of a sudden, it decided it was going to be 85 degrees that day. So that was not a comfortable experience. However, it was very rewarding. I didn't finish in the time that I wanted to finish in, so...
Is this something that you're going to continue to do?
Yeah, I think so. I've done half marathons before, and I think I'll do another full one. I don't want to do another one this year. I don't want to do one in the fall because there's so much training that goes into it. I like to hike. I like to bike. I like to play golf. I don't want to just spend all my free time running.
Right.
But I don't mind doing it at 5 o'clock in the morning when I can't, in the wintertime, I can't do any of those other things. And I'm inspired by my wife. She's a marathoner. She's an Ironman triathlete,
Now, so tell me what she's done. I mean,
she has done all sorts of things. She's done close to 10, maybe a little less than that, full marathons.
yeah.
She's done 3 half Ironman. She's done 1 full Ironman, which is 140.6 miles.
Yeah, I mean,
2.4 swimming, and then 112 on the bike, and then a marathon. She's training for another one of those this winter, summer. I'm sorry.
Oh wow.
She has done a 24-hour bike challenge at Mount Washington, where you just see how many laps you can do, like up the side of Mount Washington in a 24-hour period. It was a relay with one other person. She did it. She's she works at the Jackson Lab as a fitness.
Yeah.
She does the group fitness classes and personal training and that type of thing.
And you've got a couple of small children.
Yes, I have a soon-to-be 9-year-old son.
Oh, not that small.
Not anymore,
yeah.
no, and a 6-year-old daughter. And that's the best. You know, it is with my time with them, and I really try hard to make sure that this job doesn't swallow that up. And so I'm going from here this afternoon. I'm going to go. They have the library in Mount Desert, where they go to school. They have this after school. So he's been doing a Lego club, and she's been doing a knitting club, and they're having this big party at the end of the year.
That's awesome.
I'm going to pick him up there. Then, unless it rains more, I'm going to take the boy to baseball practice, and he's got the baseball gene. He loves it just as much as I always did. It's fun. I wouldn't do anything different. I love running around with those guys.
That's great. What do you want to say? You've got the camera to the community.
Thank you for trusting us with your children, whether they're yours or whether they're by geography. Yours. We really take it seriously. We work hard. We hold the students accountable for their learning. We hold them accountable for their behaviors. We have high expectations, and they live up to them. And so, thank you for sending them here and letting us do our work and holding us to a high standard.
Yeah, that's great. We're going to have the graduation streamed online, the audio on Sunday afternoon starting at 2 o'clock, and then we'll also have the video up probably starting Monday of the graduation, and you can check out, I guess, all the 23 other Meet the MDI teachers that we have on the WDEA YouTube channel. Matt, thanks very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Chris.
All right. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out all the other videos we have on the WDEA YouTube channel.